Kawhi Leonard opens up about leaving the LA Clippers. 2 years ago, Kawhi Leonard made the tough decision to leave the defending champion Toronto Raptors to play in Los Angeles with the Clippers. And at the moment, whether you believe it or not, the player is eligible for free agency when the current season ends. To make matters even worse for the Clippers, it appears as if the player is thinking about leaving the Clippers. Interestingly, Leonard has revealed his decision, and in this video, we'll see if the player is staying or leaving the Los Angeles Clippers. Welcome to Courtside, where you get all the buzzing NBA news and rumors. Be sure to hit the subscribe button so you don't miss out on any important information. With that said, let's dive right into the action. Kawhi Leonard and the Toronto Raptors. To properly understand what's going on with Leonard and the rumors of him leaving the Clippers, it's important that we go back in time to when he left the Toronto Raptors. His decision to leave the Raptors came as a shock to the entire NBA community. Some called him crazy, and a few others said his decision was bold. In fact, he became the first player in the history of the NBA who would win the Finals MVP and join a new team in free agency. Even though Michael Jordan did the same with the Chicago Bulls twice, the major difference is that he didn't move to another team, but retired both times. It's also important to know that Leonard was instrumental to the Raptors winning their first title in the history of their franchise. At the time he left the Raptors, he was asked if he would reconsider re-signing with the team in the offseason, and he admitted that he didn't see it happening because leaving in the first place was a detailed decision and a very hard choice to make. As you already know, he didn't go back to the Raptors during the offseason. At the time he left, several Toronto fans were heartbroken, and more than a year later, a few journalists have argued that his move was nothing but a huge mistake. Before he left the Toronto Raptors, Leonard had made it known to everyone that he would love to play in his home city of Los Angeles. He also stated that he didn't want to play on the same team with LeBron James, but rather go head-to-head against him. He believed that his move to the Clippers would also allow him to go against LeBron and Anthony Davis for the NBA title. However, despite it being over 2 years now, his dream still hasn't turned into reality. Unfortunately, he's expected to be out of the team by the end of the current campaign. How then does he expect to achieve this dream? There's no doubt whatsoever that Leonard wanted more from the Clippers team, but the recent rumors only show that he wants more, and the Clippers can most definitely not provide it. Kawhi Leonard on leaving the Clippers. When Leonard decided that he wanted to join the Clippers, one of the reasons why he made that decision was because of his desire to play in Los Angeles. The subsequent arrival of Paul George on its roster, and both of them looked like the perfect duo to push the Clippers to winning a title. However, despite the late additions to the team, it still doesn't look like the Clippers are strong enough to win this title. This has made it look like the NBA star might be out of the team even sooner than we expected. The rumors could also be due to the fact that Leonard informed the team on his arrival that they needed to make strong improvements if they wanted to win an NBA championship. In a bid to be on the safe side, Leonard signed a 2-year contract with the Clippers and offered them an option for a third year if he was happy with the team's chances at winning the championships. As you already know, the 2-year contract ends at the end of this current campaign, and it does not look like the Clippers are strong enough to keep their promise to Leonard. In fact, the past 2 seasons have seen the team consistently fall short of expectations. During the recent trade deadline, the team decided to bring in Rajon Rondo in the place of Lou Williams. Williams wasn't in his best form as he struggled during the postseason, and Rondo, on the other hand, does not have as much experience with regular seasons except playoffs. The swap showed 2 important things about the team. One was the fact that the Clippers were seriously making an effort towards becoming a championship contender, and it also showed that Leonard was right when he said the team was not good enough. Now, if Leonard opts out of the third season, he would be in unrestricted free agency, which gives him the freedom to sign with any team of his choice. According to recent reports, it appears very likely that the star will opt out of the final year deal, but other teams should of course not get too excited, as recent reports from The Athletic have shown that the player is expected to re-sign with the Clippers. Why could this be true? Well, this is because almost nothing has changed since he joined the Clippers. He still wants to play in his hometown, and he still is not interested in playing with the Lakers, a team that includes LeBron James. Same Amick and John Hollinger of The Atlantic writes, "Yet barring a dramatic turn of events in these coming months, it's looking like this Leonard free agency will be decidedly less dramatic. While this league has certainly taught us to expect the unexpected, the truth is that Leonard is still widely, expected to re-sign with the Clippers. As it stands, that's the word from Clippers sources and rival executives alike. Now, does that mean there's no way he gets a wandering eye if the Clippers implode again in the playoffs? Of course not. But Leonard's desire to play in his home region was a widely known factor of his free agency decision the last time around, as was his disinterest in partnering with LeBron James and the Lakers, who in the end were extremely skeptical that the interest he showed in them was genuine. What's more, the Clippers minimized their level of off-season uncertainty by securing George in December rather than having him also enter free agency. But things quickly change in the NBA, and we have reason to believe that Leonard's decision to stay could still change. For example, if the Clippers end up putting up a below-average performance in the postseason, like they did last year, then this could tip off Leonard into joining a 4th franchise, and this possibility starts an entirely new topic: who are the favorites to sign Leonard? What are the backup plans for the Clippers if the star decides to leave at the end of the season? Favorites to sign Kawhi Leonard? To a certain extent, we have solid evidence that the player will be re-signing at the end of the season. But because the NBA is nothing short of surprises, it's always necessary to explore all the available options and potential destinations for the player. According to recent reports, the Miami Heat appears to be his likely team. The president of the Heat, Pat Riley, has been looking to sign a superstar, and since Giannis Antetokounmpo signed an extension with the Milwaukee Bucks, the team has been looking for more options. In a recent NBA Analysis Network's chat with one NBA agent, it was revealed that since Leonard leaving the Clippers was an option, then the Heat are intrigued to land him in the open market. According to the agent, the possibility of playing with Jimmy Butler and Bam Adebayo is a tempting offer and one that Leonard is expected to be interested in. The same agent also suggested that Leonard will easily fit with Butler and Adebayo. He said it would be absolutely seamless if it happened. Kawhi Leonard is not a selfish basketball player, and he wants to win more than anything else. He would slide in and be a perfect fit with Jimmy and Bam. His defensive ability would make it nearly impossible to score against Miami. To make things even more interesting, if Miami Heat is able to retain Duncan Robinson in free agency, then the team would have a supporting cast around the powerful trio of Leonard, Butler, and Adebayo. Also, if Leonard is desperately in need of a championship title, then Miami is a very sensible option. Backup plans for the Clippers. If Leonard decides to leave the Clippers, it will naturally dash the team's hope of winning a championship title. Also, the team will need some time to find a true replacement for Kawhi Leonard. One of the best players to fill this void would be Evan Fournier. Even though there are no players that can do exactly what Leonard is doing for the team, Fournier's addition to the team will bring some sort of balance to a team that would now be built around Paul George. By the end of the season, the 28-year-old Fournier will be a free agent, and for a player averaging 19.7 points per game and shooting 38.8% from three-point range, he seems like a fine choice in the possible event of Leonard leaving. Another player who would make a fine replacement is Victor Oladipo, who has already been moved twice this season. There have been indications that Oladipo wants to play with the Miami Heat long-term, but there are a number of factors that could potentially affect this dream. And if Oladipo is to move in the offseason, the Clippers are the perfect destination for him since they are one of the biggest teams in the Western Conference. Oladipo, despite the recent criticism and rare inefficiency, is still averaging 20 points per game this season and remains one of the best elite shooting guards in the league. Now, back to Leonard. This season, he's averaged 25.7 points per game, coupled with an average of 6.5 rebounds, 4.9 assists, and 1.8 steals. Also, the Clippers have shown that they are ready to make a real run for the championship this season. And with Paul George already signed till 2024, Leonard re-signing will come as a huge boost to this championship run. Do you think the player will choose to stay with the Clippers? Or will he make a last-minute decision and leave? Tell us what you think in the comments section. Don't forget to share and hit the subscribe button. Thank you for watching. We are Courtside.